Your masculinity was sabotaged by your mother. So this one is this is kind of just an intro, right? I've talked about this before on my channel. In fact, this is one of the first series I had on a channel, um, coming from the perspective of being a son of a single mother. And I'm not doing this to attack mothers or anything, but this is for knowledge to the sons to understand how to navigate this situation. So there kind of has to be a deprogramming of things because the way that you interact with your mother affects the way you interact with the women. And nowadays, especially if you're younger, like a Z or if you're a Z or if you're a millennial, your interactions with the women are going to be much more. How do I say? You're gonna have to be a lot more callous. You can't really treat them like you treat your mother. There's this saying, right, that I hear from women um, sometimes. Oh, would you say that to your mother? Right? Would you treat your mother that way? Well, the problem with that saying is you don't want to your mother, right? So hopefully you understand. You don't really want to screw your mother. So the things that would work on your mother in terms of like making her happy versus making some random woman who isn't really capable of loving you, mind you, but she is capable of feeling a certain way. If you can inspire those feelings, then you'll get the response, which is why that saying doesn't really make sense. You can't really treat. I don't know why, but the average woman nowadays they respond to more barbaric, um, callous, emotionless kind of responses from men. Um, now, at first, when I was learning this, people would say I was misogynistic, and I was thinking, maybe I'm just, bitter or something. I don't think it's really a bitterness. Um, I think realizing these things later, actually, maybe it is. Realizing these things later is, it does kind of cause a bitterness to a certain degree. But this is partly because of yours. Um, this is partly because of the female either relatives, mother, cousins, things like that who are around you. Now, not necessarily to blame. So when this now the result of all these things, the result of this pain, the result of this brainwashing is is you treating the women like your mother, treating them nice and kind with nice gestures and things like that. And um, one of the things I would say, there's a lot of techniques and stuff that um, are taught to young boys when they're young. For example, right? So I'm talking about sabotaging of masculinity. So mothers are very neurotic. They have this fear based way of living through the world. Like when I was young, I can remember my mom would say things like, what if this could happen? What if this happened? What if this bad thing happened? What if this bad thing happened? And after hearing that so many times, you learn to be fearful. And that anxiety becomes your natural mode of being. And people can feel that, right? So that kind of sabotages your masculinity because the way that men are supposed to be, we're not supposed to be these neurotic creatures, right? Yeah, being intelligent and not doing stupid things is one thing, but walking around so fearful that you do nothing is that's kind of the sabotaging of the man from when he was very young, and then he kind of has to realize what's happening and deprogram it, which is not something I wish on anyone. I think that's extremely difficult to do. Um, thing is, if you don't, you end up being extremely unattractive to any girl you could ever go up to, which took me the longest time to realize that I was being programmed to be like a simp kind of weakling, right? Now, I was told that, well, I was raised to be strong or whatever, but I just don't think this is something a woman can do. Yeah, you grow up and you see your mom and her difficulties and the things that she has to go through, but then you're just told to comply and to listen to her, right? You're not really given your own, like, the energy that you embody isn't really fully masculine in that respect. It's like, okay, I watched this person be strong, so now I can be strong. And part of that is just who you are, right? Anyways, I had a recent conversation with my mom, and I told her that she raised us to be fearful. Me, when I say us, I mean me and my siblings. And I think I saw recently in the comment section, I saw a guy who was saying that he had to deprogram what his mom taught him when he was young because it was kind of sabotaging him. Like, she basically sabotaged him and screwed him over before he was even 21. It's kind of crazy that that happens, um, but it is a thing. I think guys are starting to realize it. Better they realize it sooner than later, because I think when they realize the truth about how women are and how the world is, later it makes things worse. Not really a Obviously, it's, I think some of these things, most of these things are the father's fault. Um, Now it's funny because, like, people will say, "Oh, you have to get over it, or you have to just, move past it." Moving past it, yes. I don't think you have to forget these things. I do think you have to get to the point where emotionally you can move past it. Um, Anyways, I could speak about the different things that kind of uh, cause emasculation and lead men to not being able to embody their masculine energy, whether it be from the mother or the abandonment of the father, things like that. But the main point of this is to recognize that this is what's happening. Once you recognize that that's what's happening, then you can kind of take the steps to decide what you want to do in life uh, to move past that. Um, so yeah, I hope I said something that made sense or is useful. But yeah.